Not much better than a toasty fire on a cold day when there's snow outside. While that's burning behind us here, and we'll come back to it, I want to tell you guys a story. Last week, while my wife and I were teaching in Northern California, I got a phone call from a dear friend of mine, and I could hear in his voice that something was wrong. And he shared with me that tragically, earlier in the day, two of our friends were found deceased. They succumbed to carbon monoxide poisoning. And this happens far more than people think. Now these guys, they were sharp dudes. Little backstory on both of them. Both of these guys were lovers of freedom. They worked with a local sportsman association helping to proliferate gun rights. That's how I met these guys. Both of them mechanically intelligent guys. And why I tell you that is they knew the dangers and risks of fossil fuels, right? So you're talking engines, vehicles, of course, open flames like this, gas burning appliances like a water heater, a stove, a furnace. They understood, and whatever had happened, they succumbed to it before they were aware of it. Why is that important for you to know? Because if two dudes that understood how this stuff worked got caught, you can too. So carbon monoxide poisoning is just that. It's a poisoning. The way our blood works, when we breathe in air, right, our lungs transfer gases, right? That's really what respiration is. It's a transfer of gases. Oxygen molecules come in, carbon dioxide molecules go out. And that's a really balanced process that has to maintain a balance for us to live. Well, carbon monoxide, not dioxide, carbon monoxide attaches to our hemoglobin. It has the tendency to do so about 250 times more than the oxygen in the air, 250 times more. So what happens is our hemoglobin, our red blood cells, they get loaded with the carbon monoxide and the oxygen can't even stick. As such, you start to get dizzy, lightheaded, nauseous. Next thing you know, you get a headache and you pass out. And if you don't get removed from that environment to fresh air, you cease to live. You need oxygen to live. This can happen from a faulty furnace, improperly drafted furnace water heater appliance. So this is why you need to make sure you maintain these things. If you use a kerosene heater, a portable gas burning heater that burns kerosene, diesel fuel, propane, waste oil, you name it, any kind of fuel that contains carbon, which is anything we burn from newspaper to wood to natural gas to gasoline to propane and etc. They all contain an off gas as a byproduct of incomplete combustion, carbon monoxide, which is why a fire like this needs to draw fresh air up and out for it to work well. If not, we end up breathing smoke and that carbon monoxide. The difference between this and, say, your gas stove in the kitchen or your water heater is you got smoke here. There's no smoke that you really see or smell with those appliances. Carbon monoxide, tasteless, odorless, which is very scary. You could be asleep on the sofa and have one of your appliances off-gassing that carbon monoxide into the atmosphere, and you will not see it. Enter detectors, right? So guys that are anti-government really have a hard time with things like building codes. So spending a lifetime in the building trades, building codes get to be annoying sometimes, but thankfully, building codes have made house fires very rare. They have made deaths from house fires very rare because we have building codes that make our homes harder to burn. We have building codes that make it harder for fire to jump from one structure to the other. We also have codes in most areas that make it a requirement to have carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. So just like when we talk about awareness in violence, awareness on the road, you need to be aware of what's happening in your home, which requires you to do maintenance. Maybe you can't afford to hire a furnace or plumber, furnace repair guy or a plumber to come out and look at these devices. You have to get the know-how to make sure that they're working properly. The flues on your gas burning appliances, you got to make sure that over the summertime birds didn't make a nest. That happens. You got to make sure that animals didn't take up residence. You got to make sure that metal pipes didn't rust out and now that gas is leaking into the house. This stuff happens all the time. If you're running a gas-powered generator, a gas-powered appliance near the home, you need to make sure that it's far enough from the home and that the breeze or pressure differentials are not forcing that exhaust back into the house. So if you've got a generator running outside, make sure that thing's 20, 30, 40 feet away from the house, not in your open garage where air wants to get sucked back into the home due to pressure differentials. You want to make sure that that exhaust is far, far away. These things are too cheap not to have. So in most modern homes, every area where they're sleeping, you're going to have one of these. You can buy a package of these, like this is a 4-pack for 50, 60 bucks. These are completely battery operated. You can get plug-in ones. You can get them hardwired. I've got them through the whole house, as well as smokes. I bought these, one to show you, but I'm going to make sure that a couple of my family members that live in older homes that don't have them hardwired in get to have a couple of these near sleeping quarters. Why? Because that is what's going to tell you time to wake up. You got a problem. Get out. Guys, it's not shooting. It's not badass. It's not tough guy stuff. But if your job is to keep you and your family safe, do the right things. Put energy and thought in where it's needed. Check your home now that it's getting cold out. Check your appliances. Hire somebody if you don't know what you're doing. Have a CO detector. Be well.
Steve, come on over here. Face down range, load and ready. Don't turn around to that. Go! Let's go. Watch your ankles on the hole. Stop yet. Stop yet. Oh, he's got a hole in his left leg too. We just saw that. This guy's running down the hall. All right, continue. Still bleeding. Just stay right leg. Still bleeding. Loading.